The loud crash from downstairs made me jump so hard that I nearly fell out of my chair. 1 second I was building a giant racetrack for my toy cars, and the next the entire house started shaking. Books fell from my shelves, posters slipped from the walls, and my desk rattled across the floor. I rushed downstairs and froze in shock. A strange green glow filled the kitchen, broken glass covered the floor, and my baby brother stood in the middle of it all. Only he wasn't normal anymore. He was growing. First he became taller than the refrigerator, then taller than the ceiling. The roof exploded above him as he continued getting bigger and bigger. Neighbors ran outside. Cars stopped in the street. Everyone stared as a giant baby towered above the town. Then his enormous eyes locked onto me. His face turned red with anger, and he pointed directly at me while letting out a cry louder than thunder. Earlier that morning, I had accidentally lost his favorite stuffed dinosaur. Apparently he hadn't forgotten. The moment he took a giant step toward me, I knew I had to run. I sprinted out of the house while the ground shook behind me. Boom! 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 Every footstep felt like an earthquake. People scattered in every direction as my giant baby brother marched through the streets, completely focused on chasing me. I raced through parks, playgrounds, and busy streets while trying to stay ahead of him. Every time I looked back, he seemed closer. At one point, his enormous hand slammed into the ground only a few feet away from me, leaving a crater in the grass. While running, I suddenly realized why he was angry. The missing dinosaur. If I could find it, maybe he would stop chasing me. I searched everywhere while dodging giant footsteps. Finally, I spotted something green sticking out from beneath a bush near my neighborhood. It was the dinosaur. I grabbed it and cheered, convinced the adventure was over. But before I could celebrate, a powerful gust of wind blew the toy right out of my hands. I watched helplessly as it flew high across the city and landed on top of the biggest shopping mall around. My giant baby brother saw it too. He immediately pointed toward the mall and started stomping in that direction. By the time we arrived, the building had been evacuated. The dinosaur sat near the edge of the roof, far above the ground. The only way up was a shaky maintenance ladder attached to the side of the mall. I climbed carefully while my giant brother watched from below. When I finally reached the roof, I grabbed the dinosaur and smiled with relief. Unfortunately, that was when he sneezed. The blast of air nearly knocked me off the building, and the dinosaur flew away once again, disappearing toward the giant clock tower in the center of town. The chase continued across the city. As I headed for the clock tower, my giant baby brother followed close behind. The funny thing was that he still acted like a normal baby sometimes. He stopped to watch pigeons, became fascinated by a giant balloon, and even tried grabbing a hot dog cart. Eventually we reached the clock tower. Hundreds of stairs twisted upward inside it. By the time I reached the top, my legs felt like jelly. The dinosaur rested beside the giant clock face. I grabbed it and held it tightly. This time I wasn't going to lose it. Looking out the window, I noticed that my brother had wandered into a nearby amusement park. Colorful rides spun through the air while roller coasters twisted above the crowds. The giant baby seemed amazed by everything he saw. Unfortunately, giant babies and amusement parks don't mix very well. He accidentally knocked part of a roller coaster over and popped a giant inflatable castle by sitting on it. While rushing toward him, I suddenly fell through a crack in the ground and landed inside a hidden underground tunnel beneath the city. Dusty passageways stretched in every direction. Rusty pipes lined the walls, and flickering lights illuminated the darkness. Above me, I could still hear giant footsteps. Somehow, my brother was still searching for me. After wandering through the underground maze for what felt like hours, I discovered an old map. It showed that the tunnels led all the way to an abandoned airport outside town. Hoping to finally escape, I followed the route until I emerged beside a deserted runway. Several helicopters sat nearby, and the airport was completely empty because everyone had evacuated. For a brief moment, I thought I was safe. Then a giant shadow covered the ground. I slowly looked up and saw my baby brother approaching once again. He had followed me all the way there. Desperate, I ran toward one of the helicopters. The engine was already running. I climbed inside and began pressing buttons and pulling levers. Somehow the helicopter lifted into the air. The spinning blades carried me higher and higher above the runway. I laughed with relief. At last, I had escaped, or so I thought. My giant brother immediately started following me. I flew over forests while he ran through them. I crossed rivers while he splashed through them. No matter where I went, he refused to give up. Eventually, I reached the coast and spotted a small island surrounded by sparkling blue water. I landed there, exhausted, hoping the chase was finally over. The island was beautiful. Palm trees swayed in the breeze, and ancient stone ruins stood among the rocks. For a few peaceful minutes, everything was quiet. Then I heard a familiar cry. My giant baby brother had actually crossed the ocean and reached the island too. As he stepped onto the beach, I finally understood what was really happening. This wasn't just about the dinosaur. He wasn't angry because of a toy. He was upset because I had ignored him all morning. Slowly, I walked toward him with the dinosaur in my hands. My heart pounded as I held it up. "I'm sorry," I said. The giant baby stared at me for several seconds. seconds before carefully taking the toy. He hugged it tightly against his chest. Instantly, his angry expression disappeared and was replaced by a huge smile. Then a bright green glow surrounded him. Slowly, he began shrinking until he was normal-sized again. A rescue helicopter later brought us home, and nobody ever discovered where the mysterious green bottle had come from. Scientists searched for answers, but the mystery remained unsolved. What mattered was that my little brother was safe. Since that day, I always make time to play with him. After all, being chased across an entire city, through a shopping mall, an amusement park, underground tunnels, an airport, and even an island by a giant baby is something I never want to experience again.